All right, y'all, what's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99 back with another quick post-fight discussion video. All right, y'all, so Cris Cyborg taking on Larissa Pacheco. Turned out to be a good fight. I enjoyed it. It was a really good fight. I thought it was going to end in a finish, on either side, but both fighters, I got to give them respect here. They did show a lot of patience and discipline in this one, and that was part of my keys to victory for Cris Cyborg. Like, the fight kind of pretty much played out how I thought it would here, as far as the level changes here. I think Larissa Pacheco has evolved from what she was, in her past couple of fights. She showed Cris Cyborg respect, and she also showed that she has the skill set to counter some of Cris Cyborg's shots in this fight, but she just didn't have that go get 'em attitude. She just didn't have that finishing attitude whenever Cris Cyborg, was showing some damage and a little bit of wear and tear and kind of slowing her pace down. Like, Larissa Pacheco didn't know how to fully go after it. Even when she was falling behind after 2 rounds, like, she didn't know how to adapt to what Cris Cyborg was doing. She actually resorted into one thing I said she should do, but I didn't mean that she should blatantly do it like that, but like draw Cris Cyborg into a fight. That was one of my keys to victory, is that somehow Larissa Pacheco was going to have to lure Cris Cyborg out, like the old Cyborg, get her to start trading with her. But she kind of did it a little too blatant, like waving her in, like, come on, let's fight. She kind of did that a little too obvious, So Cris Cyborg didn't fall for it. She sat back and said, all right, I'm going to pick my moments when to fight. And that's kind of how it played out. I think Cris Cyborg, again, she's evolved from the fighter that she was. And one of the things that was costing her in some performances, of course, the Amanda Nunes fight, but even some other fights, was her lack of patience, fighting off emotion. But in this fight here in particular, she was able to box a little bit in the first round, throw a nice jab to the body and to the head. And that jab opened up good takedowns in the first 2 rounds. And that's how she banked the first 2 rounds. Instead of trying to trade with Larissa Pacheco, she found her moments to land on Pacheco when she was off balance and caught her off guard. But she would time Pacheco under the right hand and get her down and, just use that top control and land some hard shots. Even as Pacheco was trying to get back to her feet, she jumped right on her, caught her with a good head kick in the first round, and then landed a good right and left. Pacheco did land some good shots off the cage, and that's where I kind of thought the knockout would come in. But she just didn't have that full-on leverage, or even, like I said, that killer instinct to go after her enough times. But after the first 2 rounds, though, you could see a lot of wear and tear. Like, Pacheco was doing damage. She didn't land as many shots as Cris, but she did do some damage. I mean, both eyes were cut. Both eyes were cut here. And that's where I say you can see the difference in levels here, because Pacheco didn't jump on Cyborg. Some fighters, when they see this opportunity, they literally smell the blood and they go after. You're supposed to go after and finish the fighter. She did pick it up in the third round. Pacheco did. She started to let her hands go a little bit more. She would throw the jab out and land that right hand, good hard right hand, and she would step right back. She started landing some good sequences in the third round. I said, okay, maybe she's going to take over here. Maybe she'll have some success. But again, in the fourth round, she was, to me, doing well in the first few minutes, but she was kind of picking and choosing, like, too far in between. She was just landing a couple shots here and there, which I was like, okay, she might be winning this fourth round, but let Cris Cyborg just step it up and do some serious damage or land like some good punches here, and she's taking the round. And that's how it went. Like, fourth round, Cris Cyborg was able to steal it. And with experience and, IQ, Cris Cyborg said, okay, I know what she's doing here. She's going to try to pace this out, but I'm going to steal it in these last couple of exchanges. And she did, landed some good hooks and some good body shots, and good jab to the body from Cris in this fight, and good hard right hands. And, she was really cracking Pacheco. Pacheco's face held up, though. Like, Pacheco was rocked a couple of times in this fight, but she never really, like, showed any, like, wear and tear. Like, she was, bleeding, or, her facial expression was, like, never out of the fight. Fifth round, though, again, too much respect. Too much respect from Pacheco. She let Cris Cyborg just dictate the pace, land the better shots, and get her down again, a couple more times in this fight. So, Cris Cyborg just showed different levels. And that was one thing I said, for Cris Cyborg, she's got to show her wrestling element here, that grappling, slow the pace down of the fight and just show who the bigger, stronger, smarter fighter is. And that's how it played out. Now, I thought Pacheco did have more than enough to win the fight. I think she did. Like, had she just taken a couple of those little elements here and maybe put a little bit more pressure on Cris, since Cris didn't really want to engage like that because she knew not to. That could have been Pacheco's moment to start landing those hard shots, because there was a couple of times where Pacheco would tag Cris, and then Cris started to load up that right hand, and a couple of times it looked like Cris was kind of breathing hard, and she would kind of throw that hook, that right hook, and it left herself wide open. But again, Pacheco, she was just too far out of range to land anything. So yeah, I had it 4-1. I had 4 rounds to 1 for Cris Cyborg. Cris Cyborg really had to earn this one though. In no way did I see Pacheco like ever in control of this fight like that. I think she gave Cris a good fight, and she put her in. She put Cris in a mode where she had to show the experience and that adjustment throughout each round. But she never had Cris fully in trouble in this fight. I think Cris was always ahead in this fight, and it was kind of similar to the Nunes Pena, the rematch here. Where a little bit of damage was done to the fighter, but the smarter fighter still prevailed. It's just a matter of like how well their skin can hold up. That's all it was. Cris was bleeding, but overall she was succeeding. So shout out to Cris Cyborg. This is her 5th organization world title. She is now Grand Slam champion. So that is now Strikeforce, Invicta, the UFC, Bellator, and PFL. So now she's knocked them all out. And I think from here, man, it would be wise for her to maybe call it a day. I think she believes that she might have maybe 1 or 2 more fights, or 2 or 3, something like that. And if she wanted to call it quits, maybe defend the belt a couple of times against some of these girls like Michelle Montague or Sarah Collins, I think that could be in the cards for her at this point. Bag the money, whatever the contract is for her, and just go from there. But I don't really see like Cris Cyborg making her way back to the UFC. 135 would kill her, or even 145 would possibly kill her now at this point, like, trying to do it so consistently. But after watching this performance here, styles make fights, and I think that what I've seen from Cris Cyborg versus Pacheco, that particular style, Pacheco probably could win down the stretch. Like if she wanted to give Pacheco a rematch, if Cris Cyborg wanted to give Pacheco a rematch, I could see Pacheco possibly winning in that fight again in a rematch. But that just shows you like the levels here. If it was Kayla Harrison, I would pick Cris Cyborg. I think Cris Cyborg would definitely really I think put a whooping on Kayla Harrison in that type of fight, because it took sharp hands. It really took sharp hands here, and it took sharp hands and good striking, and some good power, and good pop-ups too from Pacheco, and I think that's something she's been working on. So with Kayla Harrison not really having that type of striking IQ, that type of advantage with power, I don't think Cris Cyborg would feel like she's in any trouble. And I think Cris Cyborg could have success taking Kayla Harrison down, and even outworking and out just out punching her, out striking, out ground and pound her on the ground, or wherever it is on the feet, don't matter. So yeah, guys, that's all I got on this one. I just wanted to go ahead and talk about this one last time here. That was my final look at this one. Moving on from here, I think Pacheco is still a good fighter. I don't really want to see her go to the UFC if they're just going to move her to bantamweight. I don't think that's going to do her any justice. If they do a featherweight division, sure, go ahead and move Pacheco over there. But other than that, Pacheco staying at featherweight and PFL. There's other fights for the fight. Michelle Montague for her, Sarah Collins for her. For Cris Cyborg, maybe two or three more fights, and that'd be it. I would like to see her retire myself, because there was a lot of wear and tear in this fight. You can see the age starting to catch up. Thing is, she just had the IQ and the smarts and the tools, right? So, guys, let me know in the comment section what y'all thought of the fight. Combo Breaker 99. Make sure y'all hit the like button. I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.